So it's day 6.
Yeah, it's day 6. It's the beginning of day 6, and that's where I am. So I'm over halfway. Yesterday I had a really good day, a really good start to the day, and I didn't have any. I had lots of stuff to do, but I kind of prioritised knitting all day, and felt really guilty about not doing any real work. So, but by the evening, I got really bored of knitting, and I didn't want to be knitting, and I just watched TV with you. And then this morning I woke up and looked at what I achieved yesterday. So I haven't shown everyone yet. So that's where I am. And obviously, having broke the back of it, I felt really good about that. So this morning I just want to crack on and get a load more done. So what I thought we'd do today, because I think when we did a couple of days ago, when we did the Q&A, there were lots that I knew we'd missed, because we are across a lot of platforms at the moment, and it's surprising actually, because I think in the Ravelry group there's like 20 people, and it seems to be quite busy. At the time of recording this, we've seen a few people that have started, but we've not seen very much. We know there's a lot of people that are knitting along, but we haven't seen a lot ourselves. So it will be interesting to us when we start seeing more people showing off their work. So today we're going to do a Q&A, because you've got more questions, because we did questions and then we found other questions that we'd missed, and what have you, from all of the different places where these videos have been uploaded.
So yeah, Mandy has asked what needle size you're using, because your knitting isn't bunched up.
Yeah, well, the thing was, I did start. So where are the previous ones gone? Are they down by you? Yeah, I'll just grab those. So hang on a second. So, the mugs is there. So the
Mugs is behind you.
So this one, the single, and the mugs. So I knitted the mugs all on the needle size that I'd specified on the charts, which is the Chalgu 3.5 times 16 inch. And then what happened was I started knitting this one on those needles, and then Chalgu sent me a set of these to review. So I swapped over onto the smallest. So these are interchangeable needles. So these are 5-inch needles, and I've got a 12-inch cable. So that would make it. So I've actually got 22-inch. So which is, yeah. So what I might do is have to go back now and revisit those, because this is much more comfortable. And yes, I was bunched up when I was knitting those, but I didn't have this at the time that I started writing those. But I will go back and revisit those patterns, and when I put those patterns on Ravelry, I will change it to this. And the reason it's bunched up is because I think the next one was 24 inches on a fixed circular, and I felt that with 24 you'd be too stretched. But you could do this with, I think they do a smaller inch, so they do a 4-inch tips with the 12-inch cable. That would work as well. So
okay, thank you. And Barbara has mentioned that there's not enough information on the pattern chart.
Yeah, I think that's deliberate. I think historically, in the olden days, this is a 1950s pattern. I'm a little bit like Dumbledore. I collect old patterns, and I do read old patterns, because I look at something, I want to know how something's constructed. So, and I've always done that. I say like Dumbledore because you don't see Dumbledore knitting, but you know, he says, "Oh, Horace, can I take this pattern?" What's he say then? He says, I do like a good knitting pattern or something. So yeah, I mean, obviously I read things like this, but my view is that the knitting patterns aren't just knitting patterns anymore. Knitting patterns come with instructional video, etc., and this will happen more in the future. This is my view, and I want to make my actual pattern. So I mean, that's not all, that's just part of that pattern. You know, there's another like 2 pages that has been torn off of that, whereas mine is just, you know, quite simple, follow the chart sort of thing. What I will say about mine is that, you know, initially it starts out with watch my videos, how to knit corrugated rib, how to cut a steek, and stranded colour work without floats. So there's probably an hour's worth of material there, instructional material, which you couldn't get on an old pattern. So there's that. Plus, on top of that, obviously, there's all of these KNITALONG videos that people can watch, and people also, what you couldn't do in the olden days was ask the designer a question. Now you can ask me questions, and I'll do Q&As like this. So there's much more support. That's what I'm saying. I just want to put the basics on there, and then provide you with supporting information. But the other thing as well is that I don't want to be too much of a nanny. I want people to be more creative, and I want people to step out their comfort zone. So, okay, Jo?
Yeah, thanks. And Samantha has asked, how many rows of the rib do you knit before you change colour, and how do you know where and when to change colour?
I think I've just answered that. I think the answer to that is that it's very much I want to see Samantha make those choices. So if she's working from the We County Yarns packs, I would say she can't go wrong, and the idea is that she would pick herself when it feels right for her to change colour and do it in her own way. So she's got foreground colours and she's got background colours to work with, but apart from that, it's down to her. My personal view, and I've said this before, is that if somebody ends up with rigid stripes that are all the same width because they knit that ball and then they knit that ball next to it and then they knit another ball, I mean, if you look at mine now, mine are all in, you know, I've knit Mrs. Whole balls, I've knitted part balls, and then, you know, I knit maybe, I'm surprised at myself really, because I've probably knitted like 10 rows, 20, maybe even more rows of one colour without changing it. But I'm trying to be...
Hold it up, let's see your colours.
I'm trying to make it as random as possible. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to do. I don't want it to look like it's got all stripes all the same size. Yeah, is that good? Does that answer that one? So yeah, it's up to her.
And the last question is, I can't remember, I think it was on YouTube the person asked this question.
Yeah.
Why have you got a cat on your head?
Well, one, it is minus something outdoors.
Unusual for Cornwall.
And it's just been snowing.
Yeah.
2, it was recently my birthday and my brother-in-law bought me this hat and I quite like it and I've been wearing it pretty much ever since.
Okay, that answers that question.
Is that all your questions?
That's all my questions.
Well, that was a bit quick, wasn't it? So that's a short one today, really.
Yeah, well, coming up we've got your inspiration for knitting the remembrance blanket.
Yeah,
where that came from.
Yeah, we've got a few small videos that we're going to do.
And we're doing one about a new online live workshop that you're involved with.
Yes, I am. I've been talking to Rachel at Crafty Monkeys, and it's early days. I think we've got dates arranged and everything, but I will do a proper post about this. I've been talking to Rachel at Crafty Monkeys, and I don't know where they've gone. Down here. So yeah, I'm going to be... This is what I call Charlie Brown. I've been working on that for ages and ages. Well, years. It's been in my whip pile.
Oh, sorry.
And what I like about Charlie Brown is that all of these zigzag whips aren't the same. They're all different. And it's one of those, you know, it's a good stash buster because you can just use stuff out of your stash and change colours as you go along. And so I started to do a smaller version of Charlie Brown. So I've been working on that, which I think is probably too small. So I'm maybe going back to the original, because we were talking earlier about the original 16-inch needles that I started knitting these on. So I'm probably going to do the workshop.
And it'll be a scarf.
It's going to be a scarf. It's going to be a live workshop Zoom, and it'll be all over the world. People will be able to join in. It's a date in March, and you'll be able to sign up on Crafty Monkeys and do the workshop with me. Obviously, you won't be able to knit the whole scarf in the 3-hour workshop, but we'll be able to get to a stage where people that are doing it will be able to go away after the workshop and work on their scarf, and maybe we'll come back at some point and meet up again with the people that were on the workshop, see how they got on, and see their finished scarves.
Okay, that's all for now.
Yeah, that's it for today. So I'll see you again in 2 days, and we'll see how I've got on, and hopefully I'll be nearly on the rib by then. So I'm pushing on. I'm really pleased with how fast we're going through it, because one of the reasons is I'm so looking forward to the rabbits. So if you don't know, my next knit along, and I don't know when it's going to be now, because I literally I'm thinking get this finished, and I literally want to sort of sort it out for as quickly as possible.
It'd be nice for Easter because it's a rabbit.
Well, yeah, so a nice, if I could get going early spring, that would be lovely. So I'm going to be knitting the rabbits. This chart's available on Etsy, but also it's free for Patreons, and it's not even on Ravelry, I don't think. So
no, because you hadn't knitted it, so you
because I've never knitted it, so it's not on Ravelry for that reason. And the idea that I've got is I'm going to call it Knitting with Sharpies, because I want to, once I've finished knitting it, I want to do colouring in. So I'm really, I bought some Sharpies. I thought they were down here, but maybe they're not.
We can leave that for another day.
Huh?
Leave that for another day.
Leave that for another day, yeah. Okay, thanks Joey.